We're back with UFC at Azerbaijan. Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, is where the fights are held. Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree in the main event. And it seems like an okay card compared to most of the mid we've been forced to digest. So I guess we just get into it now. Who wants to go first? I'm recording on my phone today, so I don't have the topology in front of me.
We got the opening of the prelims. Muhammad Usman versus Hamdi Abdelwahab. I was gonna go with Mo Usman. I could see him beating Hamdi. I did not like Hamdi's last performance.
But you're cutting out really bad, Mike.
God fucking damn it. Fucking motherfucking.
Damn.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
There we go. Take. Alright, we'll restart that. Starting with, we got Muhammad Usman versus Hamdi Abdelwahab. I was gonna go with Mo Usman here. I think the Hamdi split decision train is gonna continue happening. I could see Mo Usman winning here, but it's in an Arabic place. Hamdi's Egyptian and shit like that, so they're gonna favor him in there. But I wouldn't rule out a Mo Usman win.
But you good, Mike? You done?
Yeah, I got Hamdi by decision.
Yeah, I have to agree. I also am going to go Hamdi Abdelwahab by decision. I think he's probably just a little bit better at this point than Mo Usman. I know he had like that big layoff because he was juicing. Whereas I think Mo Usman's probably juicing and didn't get caught. Although Hamdi probably did get caught and now is off the juice. Probably a different sort of situation. Although he might still be on it. You never know. I think Hamdi's probably just got the ability to get the takedowns. For Mo Usman, I never really thought very highly of him. I felt like he just kind of got here by his brother being the champ when he was the champ. But I think Hamdi's just got the calf kicks, whereas I think Mo Usman just kind of comes forwards and throws punches in a retarded fashion, which all heavyweights do. But I don't think he really has like an X factor in that way, where I feel like Hamdi Abdelwahab has like a kind of like a grinding style for heavyweight, where he can kind of push you up into the fence and minute win and get takedowns. And I see him having the better cardio in this fight against Mo Usman. I think he's the bigger kicker out of the two. And in a fight between two shit heavyweights that can barely throw a punch, I'll favor the guy that can kick a little bit better and can get better takedowns with better cardio. And probably also has a better chin. So I'm going to go with Hamdi Abdelwahab. I can't say that fucking name. By decision. I'm going to say 30-27 or 29-28.
First fight of the night, first clean sweep. I'm going to go with Hamdi as well. I think Alex and Mike said it best. I don't think there's a major skill gap really anywhere, like significantly in the fight. I just think that undefeated record, they're going to want to retain it. So give me Hamdi by decision in a control-based takedown attempt, like total strike. Like the significance won't be that big, I don't think. I think it'll be like what Mike said. It could be the split decision train just keeps on rolling. I could see it being by that degree of difference between the two, but I'm going to go with Hamdi by decision.
All right, we're going to move on?
Yep.
All right, moving on. We got Tagir Ulanbekov versus Azat Maksum. This is a tough fight. I kind of want to go with the underdog in Azat, but I did not like that he got fraud checked by Charles Johnson. Although Joshua Van lost to Charles Johnson, and Joshua Van is a beast. I'm going to go with Tagir. I'm gonna stick with Tagir. I think Takir's gonna get it done by decision. I just can't pick a dude that was getting picked apart by Charles Johnson. I cannot, but I could see an underdog upset here.
All right. Yeah, I have to agree with Mike. I agree with the Takir pick, but I'm going to go with him by decision as well. I haven't been impressed by Azat so far. I think he's I'm going to say he's 0-2 in his UFC career, Azat Maksum. I might be wrong about that. No, I think he got the decision against Tyson Nam, right?
Yeah, he's 1-1.
Okay, he got that decision. Yeah, that was a close fight, though. I felt like low-key Tyson Nam should have won that. And that was an older Tyson Nam. You know, like I just thought Tyson Nam won off the top of my head. Shows how close that fight was. But he's 1-1 in the UFC. I want to say both split decisions. Maybe the Johnson fight was a UD, but he hurts Johnson in the first round, which I do give him credit for. But then he fumbles the bag after that and gasses out, and Charles Johnson does what he does. Tyson Nam is an older fighter, definitely at the last leg of his career. He only really KOs you if you're chinny or a bum, like he did Ode Osborne. And he made it a close fight with Azat. I think at the same time, he came up, Asu Ambayev up, and he was kind of the better of the two Kazakhstani prospects for flyweight. And I think he got into the rankings, whereas Azat never has, and now he's pretty much getting another rank shot after losing and having a close fight against Anunk. I have to go to Gear just based on him training with Khabib and those guys. Like he usually does make it a closer fight than what most Khabib proteges would. He doesn't really have the finishing potential or the domination that most of the Dagestanis from the Khabib gym do. He's kind of the runt of the litter, but I do think he has enough technique to beat like these lower level flyweights. Like when he gets in there with like a Clayton Carpenter or somebody like that, they may make it close, but Tagir will still get it out. And I think really the only way Azat wins is by starching Tagir early. And there may be a chance of that, but I think Tagir is improving on the feet as well. And I think he's going to be able to use a teep, use a jab, some calf kicks, avoid him on the feet while kind of still scoring points and get to takedowns where he needs. I could seeing it be a submission, but I'm going to go a decision. I'm going to say 30-27, maybe 29-28 if Azat clips him early. But I'm not impressed by Azat so far with his gas tank or his ability. So I'm going to go Tagir by decision.
Second fight of the night, clean sweep streak keeps on rolling. I will say though, I do think Tagir is the line is kind of getting crazy. Tagir is minus 425 in this fight. I think he does win the fight. Between Azat and Asu Alambayev, I always felt Asu was the better prospect coming out of Kazakhstan. I didn't really buy into Azat. He arguably lost the Tyson Nam fight. It was really close. Lost to Charles Johnson. His gas tank doesn't seem to be dependable enough to pick, enough to bet on, per se. I think Tagir Ulanbekov has a good gym at his disposal with the American kickboxing as well as being on Team Habib. It just seems to be the more well-rounded fighter in this matchup, especially from a grappling perspective. I don't really see Azat grapple, and it's hard for me to just blindly assume that he can grapple at the level or if potentially greater than Tagir. And as Alex alluded to, I think Tagir is improving on the feet. I think he's got more experience. I know Clayton Carpenter is fairly new and fairly green, but I think Clayton Carpenter is going to be a good prospect in the flyweight division. And I rate that win that Tagir was able to get on him. So I'm going to go with the Tagir Ulanbekov decision as well. I think early on is Azat's best chance. First round, I expect a little bit of a sweat, a little bit of danger, because that should be his intent, very much finish-based. The Kazakhstan style, I like it. I like fighters from that region of the world, but it seems to be more strike-heavy than grapple-heavy. Russians, that's kind of the opposite. They're more focused on grappling and wrestling, and their boxing usually is pretty decent. So I'm going to go with Tagir by decision, where I think he's able to compete with Azat on the feet after probably the first 3 minutes, where I think Azat will be dangerous, and then I think Ulanbekov's going to get his takedowns, going to get the positions he wants, and get the control he needs to score points. I'll go with the decision win for Tagir and a clean sweep.
Alrighty. Moving on. We got Arena Alexeva versus Claudia Segula. Women's MMA. Nobody really gives a shit. Both lost to Melissa Mullins. I wouldn't say that's the worst loss, considering she's 6-1 and stuff like that. I'll go with Arena Arena Alexeva by decision. I don't really care about this fight. I'll keep it short and simple.
Yeah, I just wanted to look at their topologies real quick. Neither are anything super remarkable. I'm going to pick Alexeva as well. She's got a little bit more U.S. experience. Gula only has the one fight in the UFC where she got TKO'd by Mullins, whereas Alexeva, I want to say, has won a couple fights in her career in the UFC. I don't really want to break it down too much further than that. I think usually you go for the more dyke woman. She's the more dyke woman. She's the bigger woman, it looks like. Russians versus Poles. I feel like there's more Russians in MMA. And I've seen her more. She's definitely got some sort of a great game. Calls herself Ronda. She's kind of like a judoka. Whereas, what's her name? Segula just got ground and pound TKO'd. So I'll pick a grappler to win a grappling fight in a fight where it's probably terrible to watch and it's terrible skill. But as long as I think she's bigger, she's more physical, looks meaner, more dykish, got the grappling advantage probably. So I'll go her by decision.
Yeah, not too much of a deep breakdown on this one. I think I'm going to keep the clean sweep streak rolling, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope Segula wins simply off being more attractive. That's it. But yeah, no further breakdown. I think Russian Ronda, Alexeva, bigger, probably the better grappler on paper. Yeah, the decision win for Alexeva. Simple.
Word. All right. Moving on, we got another women's MMA fight. Melissa Mullins taking on Daria Zelenikova. Another fight I don't need to really break down mainly. I'm gonna go with Melissa Mullins by decision. Nothing to really break down here like the other one. Both like Alex, and I've said countless of times of any women's fight, you normally got to go with the more lesbian-looking woman. Melissa Mullins looks more dykish. Nothing else to break down on. Melissa Mullins, I got her by 29-28 decision, 30-27 or something.
A whole lot of mid. Melissa Mullins versus Zeleniakova. They actually fought once before, and Mullins won by TKO, so I'm going to go Mullins again. She's, I think, won every fight in her UFC career outside of Nora Cornell, who had kicked her and fucked her up. But I think Mullins is probably just the better fighter. She's the more masculine, ugly fighter in this fight as well. I don't think she'll get a finish this time. I feel like Zeleniakova probably has improved enough. I want to say she fought Eileen Perez and survived till the second round, and Eileen's pretty damn good on the ground. So I think if you can survive to the second round with Eileen, you can make it to a decision in a rematch with Melissa Mullins. But I'm still going to go Melissa Mullins by decision. Probably pretty clear. Maybe a boring 30-27 or 29-28. Maybe Zeleniakova hits her with something good on the feet. But I'm going to go Mullins by decision. Mid.
Yeah, we're going to keep the clean sweep streak rolling. I'm going to go Melissa Mullins as well. Yeah, she just seems to be the more physically imposing fighter. Probably can get it to the ground. Probably compete on the feet. Yeah, Melissa Mullins by decision. No real breakdown.
We got Ismail Nardiev versus Jung Park.
All right. So formerly known as the Austrian Wonder Boy, but it appears now in his topology he's representing Morocco. And I've also noticed in the nickname section it says NA, which is no longer available basically. So it seems he's a pretty much cut his ties from Austria and the Austrian Wonder Boy nickname, and I'm kind of glad. Like, be your own fighter. Don't emulate somebody else. Don't say it. Like same thing with the Rena Alexieva. Like, her nickname is Russian Ronda. Like, just be you, bro. But going back to the actual X's and O's of the fight, Park, definitely more UFC experience. On paper, I guess you have to lean him as far as the cardio edge. A lot of his losses aren't bad, fairly credible. Split decision Andre Muniz. He's losing to like guys in the top 15, top 20 of middleweight, essentially. Nardiev, he has losses in his own right. I want to say he's 3-2 in the UFC. I don't like one of the losses, but one in particular I thought that was like not a bad loss was Sean Brady by decision. I think with the emergence of Sean Brady, I think at this present moment, I could be wrong, but I would say I think he's the best grappler at 170 right now, best pure grappler when you combine his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu. I know you have the likes of a Kamaru Usman and other higher level credentialed wrestlers, maybe even a Bilal Muhammad, but the credentials Brady got in jiu-jitsu and wrestling legit, and to lose to a guy like that, I don't frown upon. As for this fight, I'm gonna go with an upset here. I'm gonna go with Nardiev. He's got a 6-year youth advantage. I think, from what I've seen, I think he's at Park's level, if not better, on the feet, striking wise. I think if Park isn't able to get takedowns, I feel like Nardiev's just going to land the bigger, more impactful shots. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the upset here. I think Nardiev has got more room to improve, more room for potential, whereas Park, I mean, he can get some wins here and there, but we just kind of know, like, he's not really a top 10 guy. Nardiev may not be either, but he's got more time to improve his game, whereas I feel like this is kind of the finished product of Park. I don't really see what he adds to his game, really, at this stage in his career. So I'm going to go with Nardiev by decision and an upset.
I'm gonna side with Tony on this. I'm gonna go with Ismail Nardiev. I think it's gonna be a competitive fight for sure. I did not like the Andre Muniz fight from Young Park. It still leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. Andy's 34. I don't like that. Nardiev is only 28, 29. Yeah. And plus, like I said, I know it's going to sound cliche and corny, but dude's in Morocco now. And it's around that side of Baku. So why not go with Nardiev by decision here? Even if it's a close fight, they would want to award people. There's not really that many Morocco people. Besides, what's his name?
Zalal.
I know he's not. Yeah, I know. Nardiev isn't like actually from Morocco, like born there, but still though, not many people that train there. Not many people that like live there.
Yeah, I have to agree. I also am going to go with Nardiev, continuing the clean sweep. Him being younger is a big part of why I'm overlooking his losses prior to his second UFC stint. I think he is improving, and I think he showed pretty good discipline in the UFC. I think he's able to kind of pitter-pat on Junyoung Park. Junyoung Park, I don't think will really be able to get the takedowns like he could. I think if Junyoung Park needs to win, he needs to go back to his old self and like start brawling and making a war in the pocket. But I think he's more content to like jab and calf kick with fighters now, which I don't think will serve him well against somebody like Nardiev. And I think Nardiev will be able to defend the takedowns, and I think he's just a faster, younger, more in his prime striker who's probably more of a striker than Junyoung Park is, who I always thought of as more of a grappler with some hands. And I think Nardiev has the kicking advantage pretty significantly, and he's going to be able to just win on total strikes round by round. I'm gonna give Junyoung Park a little bit of credit. I'm gonna say he wins a round, maybe makes it a close fight. But I think Nardiev gets a 29-28 UD win or maybe a split decision win, just based on being more active and being the hometown guy, if you will. So I'm going to go Nardiev by decision.
We got Orban Elliott versus Saikon Cole. It's a very tough fight. Both are very good. I'm going to go with Orban Elliott, though. I like Orban Elliott. More, I could see him doing pretty good in the UFC. I'm gonna go with KO. I'm gonna go with KO. I'm seeing this one part in Ko's career that he's been KO'd before, and Orban Elliott does hit hard. Although some of his fights have been a decision fest, but I liked what he did against Hafez, although Hafez was a fraud. It's a very tough fight for both men. I could see this going to a decision, but some reason I want to go with a TKO by Orban Elliott. I'm gonna go second round TKO, Orban Elliott, but I could see a decision, 29-28 decision happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I also have Orban Elliott winning. I think he's probably got the bigger ceiling out of all of these guys. If I remember right, Sung Young Ko came off the Contender Series and kind of just won a decision win against somebody who didn't want to be there, in Igor Cavalcanti, if I'm thinking of the right guy. And he looked okay. He looked disciplined, but I don't think he really struck me as anything super impressive. I feel like he should have finished that guy. I think Orban Elliott is getting pretty close to the rankings. I think this is a fight where if he has a good performance, he could maybe have a ranked opponent or a fringe ranked opponent next. And I think he'll get it done. I think he could get a TKO. I need to see a little bit more out of his hands. I'm going to pick Orban Elliott by decision. I think he's going to mix in the grappling a lot. I think he's going to be taking down Ko. I think he's going to be mixing in the boxing and the wrestling. And I think he's going to have a very MMA type of performance where on the back foot sometimes, on the front foot sometimes, popping the jab, mixing in the takedowns, going to the clinch and MMAing him. And I think we could see a 30-27 by Orban, mixing in the grappling and the striking. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say decision, 30-27 Orban, having like a GSP type of performance. I don't want to sound like I'm glazing, but like the striking and the grappling simultaneously is what I mean, where he mixes it together to get it win. So I'm going to go Orban Elliott, 30-27.
Yeah, I'm going to keep the clean sweep streak rolling here. I'm going with Orban Elliott. My only problem is I'm torn between a knockout or a decision. Yeah, I think Alex and Mike kind of like said it best for both potential outcomes. In the decision-based scenario, Alex said that like he would mix in the striking and the grappling and just pretty much show he's clearly the better overall fighter in every facet of the fight. Mike said second round KO, and I could see it too because I think on the feet, more power, more speed, more accuracy. I'm thinking volume as well. I think Orban Elliott has the advantage there. I'm just torn between which one to go with. Ko's been knocked out before. This welterweight division's stacked, man. It's really become where everybody thought bantamweight was peak. You could argue welterweight is now with the addition of Islam in the division. You could really say welterweight is the best division in the UFC right now. There's an argument, in my opinion. Middleweight is doing great too, but that top five at welterweight is pretty tough, in my opinion. A lot of names in this division. So I think Orban Elliott recognizes that he's got to take advantage of the opportunities he's been given and make a name for himself in this division. So I'm thinking I'm going to go with Mike's second round knockout. I think Orban Elliott's got something to prove this weekend. I think he wants to climb the rankings. I think he lands big shots and keeps it coming. So, yeah, I'm going to go with an Orban Elliott second round TKO.
Ahmed Naimov taking on Bogdan Grad. Oof.
I can start this one off.
Yeah. you could start.
Sure. It's a good fight. Muhammad Naimov, Bogdangrad. I saw his Contender Series fight against Michael Aswell. Razor close fight. You can argue, it can go either way, but the damage I thought he did with Aswell was great optics to lean it towards his direction. Naimov, I'm not the biggest fan of. I thought he did a lot of blatantly cheating things in the Nathaniel Wood fight. And Bogdangrad coming off a finish against, I want to say Lucas Alexander it was. I expect this to be a tougher fight than the Lucas Alexander fight was. Naimov does train, I want to say, at Team Elevation with Whitman and Gaethje and all them in Colorado. So that's a good gym, good training partners, good overall endurance to train there at altitude. But I'm going to go with Bogdangrad in an upset, man. Say what you want. His striking isn't great. His grappling isn't dominant. He just competes everywhere in the fight for me. Naimov, I feel like if he doesn't do those things in the Nathaniel Wood fight, Nathaniel Wood wins. Now, I know Nathaniel Wood's good coming off his Morgan Charrier win, and I think he's a very skilled fighter. But he's not the biggest guy, especially at featherweight, no less. Bogdangrad, I don't think is small. I think he's going to be able to hang with Naimov in terms of physicality. I don't see Naimov being able to control Bogdan on the ground. I think this is very much going to be a striking fight, and I like the forward pressure and the volume you're getting with Bogdan. And, we don't really have too many Austrian fighters in UFC or MMA, for me, at least of note. I think Bogdangrad could be a good guy in the UFC in this division. I like just the intensity he brings into the cage, so I'm going to go with the Bogdangrad upset decision win, where he's just moving forward the entire time. And even if he's not getting takedowns, and even if he's not landing shots, he's going forward. The output, the pressure, the intensity that he's delivering to Naimov would have swayed the judges. Good optics in his favor to get a decision win in Baku. So I'm going to go with a upset win for Bogdangrad.
I do believe this is where our clean sweep streak ends. I'm going to be picking Muhammad Naimov to win this fight. It is a close fight. I think Naimov has the power advantage over Grad, whereas Grad has the output and the cardio advantage. In 3 rounds, I don't feel like Grad can really break somebody like Naimov. I don't think Naimov's got good enough cardio to last 3 rounds. I think maybe, in the 3rd round, I would favor Grad to win if that round. If we get there, and probably be stronger as the fight goes compared to Naimov. But I think Naimov, he's not afraid to cheat to win. Tony's alluded to this in his prediction. In a place like Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia, they're more inclined to give him some leeway. We haven't seen that with Azerbaijan, but similar part of the world where you'd have to think they'll probably be favoring Muhammad Naimov to win over Bogdangrad, who's from Austria, or I think actually Romania maybe originally, but represents Austria. But I think Bogdangrad, something I realized a lot in him, he's kind of like he has to get hit, damn near knocked out sometimes before he kind of makes his get back and starts putting on the pressure and breaking you. And I don't like that against somebody who's Naimov, who's probably on the juice. He cheats to win, and he has no problem doing that, and it seems like the judges have no problem letting him do that most of the time either. And I think, I think pretty damn highly of Nathaniel Wood, and I think if you can cheat to win against Nathaniel Wood, you don't necessarily need to cheat to win to beat somebody like Bogdangrad, who I think is quite hittable, especially early in the fight. I think Bogdangrad, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he got hurt really badly by Lucas Alexander. Then Lucas Alexander just fumbled the finish, gassed out, and Bogdangrad started savaging him. I don't see that happening against Muhammad Naimov. I think he's got the power and the finishing ability to where if he did drop Bogdangrad, he would probably finish him right there and not fumble it like Lucas Alexander did. Michael Aswell is a pretty good boxer. He's a bit small, I'll be honest, even for featherweight, in my opinion. He doesn't have a lot of pop in his shots, I think Naimov does have the pop in his shots to make Bogdangrad honest, maybe put him away. But I think Naimov is going to win the first 2 rounds. I think he's got an underrated grappling game. We've seen it in his last fight where it's kind of like a boring grapple fest against a guy in Khan-Offley who prefers to grapple himself. I could see Naimov getting on top and winning rounds just by getting top position as well as landing the bigger strikes. I'm going to say 29-28. I think he wins the first 2 rounds against Bogdangrad, and Bogdangrad comes in strong in the third, but it's not enough against a crowd and judges that probably prefer the Tajikistan guy to win. So I'm going to go Muhammad Naimov, 29-28, unanimous decision.
I'm going to side with Alex. I think Naimov is going to get the job done. Bogdangrad is not a bad underdog pick, but I don't know. That Tajikistan and being a Tajikistani fighter in Naimov and where the venue is going to be at and stuff, I do see, like what Alex is saying, I think there is going to be a lot of like privilege for Naimov to cheat in this fight, grab the fence a couple times maybe, grab the glove, do something nasty probably. I could definitely see him doing some nasty stuff, and I do think it's going to be a very close decision, and I think they're going to give it to Naimov in there. I think Naimov's going to get a questionable decision where it could go either way, but Naimov was just getting the decision because it's in a somewhat of a Muslim area. We ready to move on?
Yep.
Alrighty. Moving on. We got Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Mota. I'm going to go with Nazim Sadikov. I think he's going to knock out Nicholas Mota. I think Nicholas Mota is shit. Yes, he's on a 2-fight win streak, but to be honest with you, I don't see him doing what he did to Heiser and freaking Tom Nolan to Nazim Sadikov. I think Nazim's gonna knock him out first or second.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I also have to go with Nazim Sadikov. I think, like Mike said, Nicholas Mota's ass. He's not that great. Sometimes I do feel like he's okay. Like he knocked out Tom Nolan in his debut, which has gone on to age pretty well. Tom Nolan's won every fight he's been in since then. But I think against Nazim Sadikov, I don't know if there's like a magician or something in his family, but he wins fights by TKO in like the randomest ways. Like he always gets like a weird cut stoppage TKO or like some weird version of a finish. And I could see it being no different here, especially in his home country of Azerbaijan, where he's kind of next to Fiziev, their leading guy right now. He's like the prospect for Azerbaijan. He's going to be fighting himself into the rankings soon. And I think we could see a Sadikov who's a little bit more turned on early, is less lackadaisical, and kind of more switched on early, and knows that Mota is kind of there to be a heavy bag for him, and this is his moment, and he's going to capture it. And I could see him putting on a really good performance and lighting up Mota in the first round, leg kicks, body kicks, looking really good. And then I could see him just setting up something in the second round where he goes down and the judges just call it immediately as soon as he hits the ground. Because he's in Azerbaijan, they want him to win. Like another weird finish, like where he like hook kicks him in the face and he just drops to his ass and the ref calls it immediately. I'm going to go second round KO or TKO by Sadikov. Azerbaijan's got another one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Sadikov as well. Mata, I think he's coming off a knockout win over Mahashate. I could be wrong, but I think that's his last. I think he fought in Macau. I think that was his last fight. Sajikov, pretty decent. I think he's got the kicking advantage. I like his footwork. Trains at a good gym. I want to say he trains with Aljo and Marab and Longo and them. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a second round knockout. I'm thinking could be a first though. I could see him doing it off a counter as well. I'll go with the second round knockout for Sajikov. Malta charges in. Not the best defense. He's very much looking to close the distance and land big power shots like hooks and explosive movement. But I think Sajikov's just got better footwork, better range management, and he'll be able to counter or land a good kick like he did in his last fight. Yeah, I'll go to second round TKO for Sajikov.
Alrighty, moving on. We've got Miktik Oralbai versus Tafiq Musaev. I'm gonna go with Oralbai. I could see them giving it to Tafiq in a close decision, but something's telling me Oralbai is gonna get the job done. Oralbai is very good, man, and his fight with I know he lost to Rebecki. That's not really a bad loss in my opinion. Rebecki's a very good prospect to look out for in lightweight. I'm gonna go with Oralbai by decision, 29-28.
Yeah, I also have to go with Miktabik Oralbai here. He's a lot younger than Musaev. I was surprised to see that Musaev's actually 35. He is quite good in his own right. Musaev has a good record. I want to say he's only has like 2 or 3 losses or something like that. He's quite a damn good fighter. But we've seen time and time again recently these Bellator fighters crossing over that are getting kind of right into a position where they're a little bit older and they're taking on a young, hungry guy, and they lose. The only really guy that was young and lost was Patchy Mix out of the Bellator camp. But in this type of fight, Kyrgyzstan, Azerbaijan, they're going to have similar sort of fighting backgrounds. They're both going to have like kind of that Sambo style of fight. And I think Miktik Oralbai, we've seen him time and time again in the UFC. He's got good grappling. He's got good stand-up. He's got a hell of a fucking caveman chin. Whereas I've seen Musaev get TKO'd to body shots before. Like a teep to the body sends him down in the Shabali fight. I don't think a teep to the body would even, Miktabik Oralbai wouldn't even think about shutting down to that. I think the toughness, the chin, the durability, and just the overall youth is on the advantage of Miktabik Oralbai. And even if they are close in the skill, I think that's what leads Miktabik Oralbai to a win. Not to mention he's been fighting UFC caliber opponent, which we've seen recently is huge against these Bellator guys crossing over. Tafiq Musaev coming into Azerbaijan, he might want to put on a show and he might come in really switched on, or he might feel a little bit of the pressure. We don't know, but I'm going to trust Miktabik Oralbai. I've seen more of him. He's younger. And he's got a hell of a chin. He's durable as fuck. And I think even if Musaev has a good round, I think Oralbai could come back from it. So I'm going to go Oralbai. I'm going to go Oralbai by finish. I think he's going to hit him with a spinning back kick to the body or some shit and drop him. I think the body shot is there for a wide-bodied guy like Musaev. So I'm going to go Miktabik Oralbai second round TKO. I'm going to say wheel kick to the body. Or maybe a wheel kick to the head. We'll see. Something funky.
I'm going to go with Miktabek in this one as well. Tafiq isn't bad. Got a lot of fights. 22-5. Miktabek, I do think, has the durability edge. Even though he's coming off of a tough loss against Rebecki, he was able to still go the distance despite being heavily damaged in that fight. So that tells me the grit and the heart that he has in terms of being willing to stay, even if adversity is in the fight. I'm going to go with a third round ground and pound TKO for Miktabek in a war. I think Tafiq is going to look pretty locked in early as far as being at range and on the feet. I think he's going to look sharp. I think he can win the first round off of just landing the more impactful shots potentially. and then we're going to see what is Mektabek made of. I think he'll be able to push a pace, push a tempo, and be able to land his takedowns, be able to kind of equate the damage that was delivered by Tafiq in the first round and kind of make it a 1-1 fight. And then I think as the pace of the fight continues, Tafiq is going to fatigue, and I think the takedowns are going to get easier for Mektabek to land, and eventually he's going to get to a dominant position where he's just going to finish the fight with ground and pound TKO in the third. So I think the first round, Tafiq's going to look pretty good on the feet, win the first, and then in the second, I think Mektabek's going to be able to engage in takedown attempts where even if he's not getting the takedown, he's landing damaging shots in the clinch, and he's able to equate the points that he wasn't able to get in the first round. And then in the third round, I think Tafiq's going to get tired, and the takedowns will be easier, and he'll be able to get a ground and pound TKO.
Curtis Blades taking on Riza Kuniev. They've been rebooking this fight countless of times. I don't know why the fuck they want to do this fight so badly, but for some reason I could see them doing some like rigging shit for Kuniev, but I'm gonna stick with Curtis Blades though. I'm gonna go with TKO, second or third round TKO by Curtis Blades. I'm still gonna go with that, but for some reason I could still see them. I could see Kuniev doing some riggery shit. I don't know why they would sign him too. He's in, he had a good performance in Contender Series, but I don't know. This is a high jump up. I don't know why they would give him a massive jump. Plus, I think he tested positive for PEDs, right? Didn't he pop? Yeah. I don't know. This is some weird riggery shit that I could see happening, but I'm gonna stick with my Curtis Blades pick.
Yeah, I have to agree with Mike on here. I'm also going to go with Curtis Blades. A lot of the themes the fighters I've been picking this card have been the experience and the UFC experience in particular, and that's what Curtis Blades has. He, truthfully, he's lost to Ngannou, Derek Lewis, Tom Aspinall, and that's about it. He got, Derek Lewis is a guy that can slump you and put you out cold, and that's what happened. He shot a bad takedown and got put out. Francis Ngannou, one of the better heavyweights of all time. Same with Tom Aspinall. We all know how good Tom Aspinall is. Ngannou has the touch of death, and he's fucking huge. I don't feel bad about Curtis Blades' resume at all, to be honest, to pick him in this fight. Whereas Kuniev, in my opinion, kind of needed the juice to fuck up Renan Fahea. Whereas Ngannou, who's not a grappler, was able to do that pretty easily in one round. And Kuniev didn't even finish him. He just held him down for 3 rounds. And I think if that's the best you could do when you're juiced out of your max. And I mean, he wasn't on one steroid. He was on the fucking super soldier serum. He was on all sorts of steroids. So I just don't see him as something super physical. I could see him maybe doing some work in the clinch on Blades with some knees. But I think Curtis Blades is probably the faster, more athletic fighter out of the two. I think he's probably... I honestly could see him being the one getting the takedowns. I really rated the Almeida fight for Blades. He defended almost all of Almeida's takedowns, and Almeida was just on him, on his ass from round 1 to round 2. Every minute of that fight, Almeida was on his fucking hips trying to get him down. And I think he only really got him down once or twice, and he couldn't keep him down. And I can't see Kuniev implementing a grappling game plan against Curtis Blades and it working without Kuniev gassing. And I think Curtis Blades is improving on the feet. I rate him getting in work with the guys over at Team Elevation. He's been there for a while now, and I feel like that's a lot of the reason we've seen him improve his striking lately. And I could see him getting a KO on the feet in this fight, and that's what I'm going to be picking. I'm going to pick Curtis Blades to win on the feet and TKO him on the feet. I think he's going to be chopping at the calf of Kuniev, and I don't think Kuniev will like it. And I think he's eventually going to set up a big 2, and he's going to drop Kuniev. He's going to TKO him with ground and pound, some big elbows. I'm going to go Curtis Blades by TKO in the second round. These guys coming over from PFL, Bellator, they ain't ready, gang. They ain't ready for the top of the top. You're fighting a top 5 contender, and you're not ready for it. Like, I know heavyweights ass, heavyweights this and that. Curtis Blades has been around, and he's been tested. He's like a Volkov type of guy. Like, he's going to be around until he retires in the top 10. And I think he beats him. I'm going to go Curtis Blades, TKO on the feet. Relatively fun fight, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Curtis Blades on this one. I think Alex said it best. You look at his resume and who he loses to. I mean, who doesn't lose to a majority of those guys? You know, Derek Lewis' loss wasn't great. You could argue if he doesn't get knocked out. I mean, I want to say Blades was like minus 400 in that fight. He would have probably won a decision, if not. Yeah, like I think he probably would have won that fight had he not get absolutely smoked by the palm of Derek Lewis. But that's the power that he brings into a fight. I don't think Rizvan Kuniev punches like any of those three guys with the technicality and the speed of an Aspinall or the power of an Ngannou or a Lewis. I don't think we have to worry about that type of danger on the feet. I think Curtis Blades is a perennial top 5 guy in the heavyweight division. It's not the best division skill-wise, but I want to say he's like, in a lot of the statistical categories, like a premier wrestler of the UFC heavyweight division, like top control time, takedowns landed, a lot of important stat lines in those specific areas of a fight. Kuniev, I don't like just like the competition difference in this fight. It's pretty noteworthy. I'm gonna go with Curtis Blades in a good fight. I think he'll win a decision where he's able to get control time, takedowns. It'll be competitive on the feet. I think early on is Kuniev's best bet. I expect some forward pressure from him in the first, and Curtis is able to neutralize his explosiveness and just kind of sap time in the clinch, and then be able to get takedowns in rounds 2 and 3 when he needs them, and be able to be on top at the end of the bout. I'm going to go with Curtis Blades in a close 29-28 decision win where he shows off the competition and the experience that he's had, but Kuniev doesn't have a bad showing in his debut. So I'm going to go with a close decision win for Curtis Blades.
Agreed. Moving on, we got the co-main event of the evening. In my opinion, this is the real main event, but, you know, different strokes for different folks, I guess it feels like. Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. It's a tough fight. Very tough fight to predict. I'm going to go with Rafael Fiziev. I'm going to go with Rafael Fiziev by decision. I just think this is a very big fight. Azerbaijan. I know Fiziev didn't look very impressive against Justin Gaethje in that fight, but in all fairness, it was on short notice. He was coming back from a bad ACL, or what was it? His ACL? He tore his ACL against Gamrot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he tore his ACL against Gamrot. I just think this matchup is. I think he could do stuff that Ludovic Klein did to Bahamondes. I know it was a different fight because it was a not weight difference, but you know what I mean. Like Bahamondes missed weight and all that, but something's telling me that Fiziev can pull off the victory here. Plus, it's in his home country. You'd have to think like he would bring in some energy in this fight, some momentum, I can't lose in front of my home crowd. I could see Ignacio winning, but that Ludovic Klein loss, it would have aged well if he actually did good against Gamrot. I thought he would, but he just looked shit, and that's not a good look. Like, he kind of got exposed a little bit in his fights, and his whole streak, in my opinion, was a little bit exposed too itself. I think Fiziev can do what Klein did, but better, probably. I'm going to go with Rafael Fiziev. I almost said Dos Anjos, fuck's sake. I got Fiziev by decision, 29-28.
Yeah, this is another tough fight to predict, as Mike alluded to, but I am going to pick Fiziev as well. This is a tough one. I worry about Fiziev coming back so soon after the war against Gaethje, whereas Bahamondes has had a little bit more time, didn't take any damage against Jalen Turner. On the ground, I honestly think Fiziev has improved as well. He kind of latched up like a weird inverted triangle pretty quickly against Gaethje, whereas Bahamondes' grappling is improved as well. He subbed Turner very, very quickly in that fight, whereas better grapplers haven't, in history shows. But Fiziev, both are lightweights, but Fiziev is the much shorter, much stockier lightweight, whereas Bahamondes is tall and lanky. In Azerbaijan, I know Fiziev is going to want to win. I know he asked to be on this fight card. That being said, it still is a bit early for him. I would have liked to see him maybe return sometime in the summer or maybe the fall. There was rumors of him potentially dropping to featherweight. It seems like I don't know if he decided that he's staying at lightweight or the Azerbaijan card came up and he's just like, oh, I just need to be on that card. I'll stay at lightweight to make the card. Then I'll move to featherweight. I don't know. If he wants to move to featherweight, I'm not a big fan of this fight just because Bahamondes is so big. He is a big fucking lightweight. But I think Fiziev's speed and experience is going to be the thing that pays the bills here. I could see him stepping in with these body kicks and just being more explosive and being more fast than Bahamondes is. Bahamondes can definitely tag him with some punches at a range where Fiziev can't hit him back, and I think we'll see that. I think the teeps, the knees, the jabs, and straight hand, whether it's the straight right hand or the straight left hand of Bahamondes, is going to be what he uses in this fight. Whereas Fiziev's tools are going to be round kicks, roundhouses to the body, leg kicks, big hard kicks to the guard up top, like a head kick, and hooks to the body, like the wham, 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 where he goes body, body, head, head, with kind of like the Moicano finish. He needs to let like that, bam, 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 like that typical Fiziev shot pattern off, and I think he can win this. I think when he is in close, he's going to do damage to Bahamondes' body. He's going to be able to clip him up top as well. Bahamondes really needs to keep this fight at range, and I don't really trust him to do that quite as much anymore because of the Ludovic Klein fight. Ludovic Klein was also a smaller fighter who pretty much wanted to fight a similar way to Fiziev did, to what Fiziev is going to want to. He's going to want to fight on the feet, except Fiziev's better than Ludovic Klein is. And Ludovic Klein pretty much, for some reason, got Bahamondes to only box with him. If Fiziev can do the same thing, I could see him TKOing Bahamondes. I think Bahamondes is going to be tough and he's going to survive till the round, and I can see him making the improvements. But I think there's going to be some moments in this fight where Fiziev's hurting him and he's backing up to the fence, and whether he's hurt to the body or hurt to the head, I think Bahamondes is going to have to tough out some moments in this fight. And I'm going to say Fiziev 29-28. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think this could probably be fight of the night. This is what I'm going to bet fight of the night will be. I think it'll be a great striking fight. I think Bahamondes will have good moments on the feet, but I think Fiziev's experience and just veteran savvy to know what he needs to do against a taller opponent, get in, sap out the body of Bahamondes, and just being the cleaner, more efficient, more experienced striker out there. And I think it's going to be a battle of kickboxing, Muay Thai. Muay Thai usually wins. Fiziev 29-28 decision.
This is a good fight. A really good fight. Bahamondes, he's got momentum right now. Fiziev in his hometown, big fight. I picked Fiziev in the rematch against Gaethje, and he wasn't looking bad, at least in the first, but he got caught with a big uppercut and pretty much got outboxed again by Gaethje. Fiziev has faced better competition, and his losses aren't terrible. He got it's pretty much spinning death kicked by I can't even remember his name, but it was fairly early in his career. It was a spinning side kick to the head he got hit with. It was nasty. He lost there. He lost to Gamrot. He lost to Gaethje now twice. So these aren't bad losses. Bahamondes, I like the momentum that he's been on. the competition is very much in Fiziv's favor. But that being said, Bahamondes, given his style, I think it's kind of impressive that in the amount of pro fights that he's had, he's never been finished by KO. He's never. His durability is legitimate. Like Bahamondes, I believe, is going to be there at the end of 15 minutes. I think he's able to take damage pretty well. The optics may not be great, but he's very much in the cage and he's a dog. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go with Bahamondes here. I think that he could compete with Fiziv at range with the kicks, and I'm not terribly impressed with Fiziv's boxing. The fights that I point to are Bobby Green and both Gaethje fights. Now I know they're different styles, and I know it's a completely different range, but you know, if you're able to close the distance on Fiziv from kicking range, his boxing isn't very special to me. I know his hand speed, his kick speeds very well, but Bahamondes being the bigger fighter, in my opinion, the more durable fighter, since Fiziv's coming, this will be his second fight since his injury, and he's been knocked out in his career where Bahamondes hasn't. I think the durability is in Bahamondes' favor. Power in their hands, I think Bahamondes hits harder than Fiziv, specifically the hands. I think Fiziv has the edge in speed, technicality in the kickboxing, and probably footwork. I think his footwork, his speed, and his kicks are better than Bahamondes is. But I think Bahamondes isn't going to get finished. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's going to get finished. I think he's got the power in the hands, and I think he can compete with Fiziv in a lot of the kicking area and the range of the fight. I think knees, when up close, and elbows will be available for Bahamondes. I'm going to go with I'm torn because I could low-key see a late finish. I don't like Fiziv's gas tank either. I don't like Fiziv's gas tank. I don't like his boxing. And I think Bahamondes isn't going anywhere, and I think he can compete at kicking range as well as being the bigger guy with a reach advantage, a pretty significant one, I want to say, in this fight. I feel like the jab is going to be there for Bahamondes if he's able to track down the movement of Fiziv. And you know what? Yeah, I'll dare. I'm going to go third round TKO Ignacio Bahamondes in a war. I think early on, Fiziv is going to look very switched up with the speed. I think he's going to be landing his body kicks. I think he's going to be landing his kicks. But Bahamondes will be landing that jab, and he'll be following up with some right hands of his own. I think in the second round, Bahamondes is going to be like, all right, I lost the first. He's in his home country. I got to steal back this round. I got to do something big. And I think that he's going to be more forward heavy, and we're going to see Fiziv on the back foot in the second round, trying to land kicks, trying to go for the body. But in those split instances, I think that jab's going to get even sharper. And I think he's going to follow up with hooks around the guard. And we're going to start to see some reactions from Fiziv that are like, okay, this guy's hitting me and he's landing and he's bigger than me. And then the footwork is going to slow down, and he's not going to be as spry, and his movements aren't going to be as explosive. Bahamondes is going to kind of look like a shark in the water a little bit in the mid to late of that second round, where he's just kind of stalking Fiziv and taking the kicks away. He's blocking them with his forearms, and now he's starting to land that jab even sharper. Come the third round, I think Fiziv's going to be really tired. He's going to have kicked a lot of kicks. He's going to have moved around a lot in the cage. And Bahamondes is going to be like right there, still willing to push and exchange and get big shots. And I think he's going to actually hurt Fiziv to the body with a knee of his own. He's going to follow up with it up against the cage. Third round TKO. Ignacio Bahamondes. I think he's the kickboxer of 155 right now, not Fiziv. So I'm going to go with... It opened at Fiziv like minus 180. Apparently, like, it's now pick'em. So I think that movement's warranted, especially with where you're getting Fiziv.
The short notice worries me about Fiziv.
Yeah.
It's a good prediction, though.
I think it's going to be a great fight. Phenomenal fight.
Yeah. Yeah, this ain't...
I think it'll be a good scrap.
This will be the people's main event. Not to shit on the main event. It's a good main event too, but like I think that Fiziev Bahamondes fight for striking standards in MMA, that's going to be a spectacle.
Yeah, it should be good and fun.
Yeah.
Don't shoot a fucking takedown. Neither of you.
Facts. I think like Alex said it best. I want to see high level Muay Thai versus South American kickboxing. I want to see some nice striking.
So I think we will.
I think we will. I think Fiziev wants to put on a show, and he's in a big part of his career where this is a must-win fight. And I think Bahamondes' momentum and his confidence is going to lead to just a great fucking fight.
We got the main event. We got Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill taking on Khalil Roundtree. I really want to go with Jamal Hill, bro. I really want to. I really, really want to pick Jamal Hill. He's only lost to good names. But I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with. I have to go with Khalil. I'm gonna go with Khalil Roundtree by TKO in the second or third. I just feel like that Achilles injury that he got surgery from is just like a factor into this fight. Yeah. I think Jamal. I don't know. Something's telling me Jamal's going to get caught with something. I think the leg kicks are going to be a very big factor, and Khalil's very good at picking apart the legs. Honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna go with second round TKO with Khalil, but I could see him getting knocked out by Jamal, mainly because Jamal is coming off a mean loss against Yuri, but Yuri's good, man. So is Alex Pereira, who Khalil just lost to, but I have a feeling Khalil took more damage in that Alex fight more than Jamal did against Yuri. I feel like, you know what I mean? I think Khalil's got this. I think he's gonna TKO Jamal, unfortunately. I could see Jamal knocking him out, though. I could see it. Alex?
Yeah, it's a tough fight. I agree with that. I think a lot of people are counting out Jamal in this fight. Like, I know people don't like him, but he really only lost Alex and Yuri, which are probably the second and the third best light heavyweights in the division. And I don't mind those losses, to be honest, even though they were brutal. Like, he did get sort of caught by Alex Pereira. It was a weird fight, weird finish. It was a great finish, and like the whole referee thing made it more of a spectacle. But I do understand how that could take you out of maybe your focus. And then Yuri beat him. Yuri looked really good, and Jamal Hill just kind of he made it a fight. But I think Yuri was just a superior athlete in that, and Jamal Hill was kind of just a fat guy out there. And I think it could be similar here. I think the superior athlete is Khalil Roundtree. I'm going to pick Khalil Roundtree by knockout. I think he's turned a new leaf lately. I think the sit back and pitter-pat Khalil and get teed up on isn't the Khalil we've been getting lately. We've been getting a Khalil that's ready to go to war. I think he's the more muscular guy, whereas Jamal Hill, I assume, probably comes in with a belly again. I think Jamal Hill leaves himself open when he goes for that left hook. I think... hold on. My screen just shit itself because I got called on FaceTime.
Yeah.
But what do you call it? I think he's the superior athlete. I think he's the... when it gets down to it, I think he hits harder. I think he's like the meaner fighter in the cage. I think he's more aggressive. I think Jamal Hill's power is a bit overrated. I think he could probably TKO Khalil, but I think it'd have to be like a wearing down sort of thing. I think he'd have to knee him in the body, knee him in the head, in the clinch. I think Jamal's clinch is very underrated, and the clinch is where Jamal probably actually has Khalil beat, even, in my opinion. Khalil more of does like sweeps in the clinch, whereas Jamal really does strike from the clinch pretty well with knees, elbows, and a bunch of other stuff. But I think Khalil has some sort of like crazy explosion where he just darts forward and hits him with like a left hand or a hook of some kind. I think Jamal Hill definitely can win, and I don't think it's like a blowout like some of the fans are making it seem like it is. But I do favor Khalil here. I think the leg kicks with Khalil could be really big if he decides to bring them out, which he should have used them against Anthony Smith, and he never did, although he should have. I think this is a time where he could use them again. And I think, I don't think Jamal Hill is going to quite put the damage on him that Pereira did, where he's a complete shell of himself in round 3 and 4. I think even if he does have less cardio than Jamal, he'll still be a little bit more of himself than he was against Alex. And we saw even late into that fight, gassed out, fucked up, he was still willing to fight. And I think even if it does get into the later rounds, we could still see Khalil hang in there and still win. Although I do think that favors Jamal. But I think Khalil Roundtree by second round knockout is going to be my pick. I could, or maybe third. I just feel like Khalil's explosive power is the thing that really sets him apart. He's the bigger, better athlete, whereas I feel like Jamal Hill just isn't very fast twitch. He's kind of slow twitch, muscle fibers, like he's a little bit fat. I think Jamal Hill needs to low-key get in the gym, and I know he does already, but I think he needs to like fix that belly and get into better shape before he can really make a crack at that title. And I think that's what he should do. But until he does that, I'm going to be picking these superior athletes to beat him and probably knock him out like I am here. I'm going to pick Khalil Roundtree, darts forward and hits him with something, and then just viciously like stomps him to the ground and ground and pound him. We have a typical violent fucking Khalil Roundtree finish, and Jamal Hill gets fucked up. I'm going to go Khalil Roundtree, second round TKO.
Tough fight. Main event, Baku. Really a tough fight. Former champion Jamal Hill coming off a tough loss against Yuri, and in my opinion, one of the fight of the year candidate when they did scrap it at 311, I think it was in January. Roundtree coming off his title challenge at 307. You know, both fighters took a lot of damage in their losses. Both lost by KO. I will say, for what it's worth, Roundtree competed better against Pereira than Jamal Hill has. And stylistically, you know, in Baku, I think the fans will appreciate a kicking game, point-wise, in terms of scoring a lot of fights of the night. Jamal is primarily a boxer. He does have good clinch, as Alex alluded to, but I feel like his weakness is a little bit of the kicking. As well as the defensive liabilities when he leaves himself open after throwing hooks and things like that, bad tendencies. But in particular, I think kicking, range, just overall with his legs. Like Jamal's footwork isn't bad, but the leg is there to be had, in my opinion, as far as kicks. And Roundtree, in my opinion, shouldn't headhunt. I think he should try to chop down the legs of Hill, and eventually the head will follow. I think boxing-wise, I think Jamal is the better boxer, in my opinion. I know it's hard to believe, but I do think he has the reach advantage. I do think power in their hands, you know, the gap between the two I don't think is as significant as many would have you believe. I know Roundtree's been on a run of some pretty devastating finishes. He does have that mean grit to him in terms of wanting to get the finish. Whereas Jamal Hill's power may have been a tad overrated going into the Prohaska fight, where he doesn't have this like touch of death where he just touches you, it's over. But I think this is going to be a really good scrap. My concern for Hill is the kicks of Roundtree and just the overall movement. I do think early on speed should be in favor of Roundtree, and just I expect Roundtree to come out. If he tries to be patient with Jamal Hill and go tit for tat, I don't know if that's the right tactic, because I do think in rounds 4 and 5 we'll see if it gets there. Jamal Hill's championship experience, even though he only did have the one championship fight with Teixeira before getting knocked out by Alex and then Yuri, he has gone 5 rounds before in his career. Roundtree, he went 4, so he was close, but his movement and he overall fatigued in the Pereira fight. Granted, that is Alex, and that was at the time the champ, so a lot of people lose to him in that fashion. But still, I think the longer the fight goes, I think that favors Jamal. It's a really close fight. Early on, I do think Roundtree is going to be dangerous. But I do think as the fight progresses, I think his danger will, fatigue. And his explosive movements won't be as devastating. It's a tough fight. I'm going to go with... Jamal Hill. I want Jamal Hill to win, so maybe it's an emotional or a biased pick per se, but I think if he can avoid the kicks, I think he can really make this a fight in a lot of areas. I think his boxing isn't that bad. I just think Yuri and Alex are just top 10. They're just top light heavyweights of all time, frankly. I think they're really good. Roundtree, he's not bad, and he has a good style to counter Jamal's style. But I'm going to go with a decision win for Jamal Hill in a great scrap, where I could see Khalil winning the first, maybe even the second round. But I think that Jamal Hill is going to be landing investment shots of his own. I think he's going to be landing straight punches. I just think if he can avoid the kicks, he can make this into a real scrap for himself and give him a great opportunity to win. I'm going to go with a decision win for Jamal Hill, where he may lose the first 2 rounds, but I think in rounds 3, 4, and 5, he's able to pick up the pace. Khalil fatigues, and he's able to equate the damage and win the last 3 consecutive rounds. So I'm going to go with a close, dare I even say, split decision win for Jamal Hill in Baku, Azerbaijan. We appreciate you guys for staying and watching the video. Make sure to go like and subscribe. Is there anything else that you guys want to say?
No.
No? All right. We appreciate you guys. Those are our picks. Make sure to go like and subscribe. Thank you.